and scene.
You got your sillies out?
Oh yeah, I picked my mustache.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. So today is the promised video, the tea, why we left our first contract, the nitty-gritty behind that. We're going to kind of tell this as a story, and towards the end I'll put a little time marker if you're interested in like the key lessons learned. But if you'd like to hear the rest of the story as to why we left our first contract, then just keep on watching. First of all, because we're not dumb, we're not naming any hospital names, hospital systems, we're not going there, and we'd appreciate it if you didn't as well. But why? So to tell it, I think we were talking about the best way to communicate this, and maybe as a story would be best. I wish we had a big book like Shrek.
So the contract we signed, to get some of the details out, we signed a contract that stated we were going to be on an Epic charting system. It stated a singular hospital location, and we also signed for a specific amount of pay.
You'll figure out why that's all funny to us later. So, our first day, you know, we go through orientation, we go through all the modules, which isn't the most ideal, but we have heard that, you know, some of that stuff doesn't always go smoothly. But then we go through our single day of shadowing, which I've heard is also normal, which is fine. Our first day off orientation, however, we hear through the grapevine, I think it was maybe Charge, joking to us, or coworkers, they were saying, "Are you excited to move to the new location?" And we're like, "What are you talking about?"
What new location?
We're standing in the hospital we signed up to work in. I'm not picking up what you're putting down. What are you talking about? And they said, "Oh, yeah, this building, it'll be no longer. We're going to move to the new location in about a month." And we said, "Oh, how far away is that location, first of all? How big is it? Do they have staff to fill it?" You know, we're just now erupting with questions. None of this was disclosed to us.
Well, and the hospital that we started at, where we signed the contract for, we actually ended up using a Pisces charting system.
Yeah.
Versus the Epic charting system that we signed the contract for.
In our contract, we signed Epic charting system.
So on the first day, we're already meeting like these contract breaches of we're moving
first
buildings.
Day.
We're on the wrong charting system, which we've never used, and Pisces is a nightmare. So then that's when we found out that a month later we were going to be helping them open a new building.
But we go through our shift, kind of, you know, pretending like we know this, obviously. But the whole time we're like, what the heck is going on? And now, you know, I feel like red flags were starting to shoot up. Let's find out what else doesn't really match with what we were told. And one of the things, which I guess for their own good they didn't include this, was the state of the building that we started in. I'm not going to go into detail. I don't think it's right to do that. But the standard of care that building was able to provide did not align with the standard of care we were used to and what we were hoping to give and what we were morally. That
was held to our own personal standard.
Yeah. We were made very uncomfortable, I should say, by the standard that we witnessed. So very first day, we were met with a bunch of red flags, challenges, probably something that a seasoned travel nurse would immediately say, "Whoa, let me take a step back and let me talk to my recruiter." We would come home after a shift, decompress to each other, you know, feel somewhat, you know, resolved as you could, but if you had to go back into work that night, and never speak of a bit of this to our recruiter because we had already decompressed with each other.
We weren't sure how much we were supposed to communicate.
Yes. How long was it? Maybe a month went by?
Yep.
Before we said anything to her at all. And then I think, honestly, it was kind of a boiling over point. I think we had maybe a week or two before we moved to the new location.
Yeah, we were kind of getting fed up. We had sent her an email in the morning, Eastern time. We were like, "Hey, whenever you get a chance, just like give us a call."
We clearly need to chat.
There's something that we've been here long enough. We talked to other travelers who were like, "This is totally not right."
Yes, travelers who have been through, you know, 5 more than like Ben, the guy, lovely guy. Shout out to Ben if you ever see this. He has been a traveling worker for various jobs his whole life, and he said this was the first
in his top
top 2, top 3 worst he's ever
Worst
seen.
jobs he's ever
And if
been
he's
on.
been at 100+ locations, I do think that speaks wonders. So we finally get to this phone call with our recruiter. Lovely, lovely recruiter. And she, after, we probably talked to her for maybe 25, 30 minutes just explaining everything, kind of, unloading all of this stress and anxiety and stuff we've witnessed and stuff we've experienced and
over the month.
everything, a whole month of stuff. And she's like, whoa, guys, first of all, I'm writing all of this down because it should be documented. And second of all, why in the heck did you not come to me sooner? What are you doing? Legally this all has to be documented. I'm so sorry that you went through this, the whole experience.
She has since told us to speak with her daily, pretty much.
She has lovingly scolded us. We love our recruiter, so we only speak, highly of her. And if we're joking, it's really joking. But she lovingly scolded us as to why we need to tell her, like legally why we need to tell her, because she documents these significant breaches. It speaks to that recruitment agency's ability to send travelers there in the future. That's a relationship we didn't recognize. It's not just a relationship between the nurse and the hospital. There's a relationship and a dynamic between the recruitment company and the hospital. And if big breaches like this are happening, it doesn't just hurt us, it hurts our recruiter. So to think a little bit, we hadn't thought as big picture as that until she kind of opened our eyes to the fact that she's our connection and our ability to navigate problems like this smoothly, gracefully, legally, all of those things. So we need to be open with her.
I think it was that same day. Like maybe it was like the day before or something. We got notified from our staffing company that we had gotten a pay cut from the hospital.
And now I don't want you guys to take this as law. Obviously, this is our first ever experience. We are by no means experts on how to exit a contract. But she said because they've had multiple breaches in contract and they've had significant work conditions that don't align with your personal standards, and now they've decreased your pay by a significant amount, that decrease in pay gives you a legal out.
To paint the picture for you, we're moving to a new building, switching to Epic finally after a month and a half, that we had already signed a contract stating we were going to be on Epic, but we've been on the wrong charting system for a month and a half. We're in the building that we signed a contract for, and now we're leaving that building to help them open a new one. And in the midst of all this, they're like, oh, and also we're cutting your pay significantly. She said, legally, once they breach a contract on paper, like a pay cut like that.
Yeah, something that is very tangible.
Because I thought that what we had already hit was enough. Like the wrong charting system, switching buildings, like all that stuff that wasn't included. You would think that's enough to leave. But she had said even that, like if you leave on your own terms because of all these breaches, like that can still leave some type of residue on your reputation.
On our profile.
So she said since they made the decision to cut your pay, you have a certain amount of time where you can either decide to go or leave at no penalty.
Yeah, I believe it was 2 weeks, but I'm not sure on that. But it was a decently short period of time that we had to decide. But
that window is also important because when we decided that we wanted to leave, we thought like we were going to say we want to leave and she was going to say, okay, you're done. Yeah. But we had to finish that time period. We had to work until the pay change became effective. So even though we got to leave, we still had to work
3 more
shifts.
Yeah. But we were very happy to leave. We were emotionally ready to leave, and we felt as though it was the best thing to do for our careers, for our sanity, and probably for our travel nurse future in general, because had we continued on with that, I think we probably would have quit travel nursing. Because if that's what it was going to be, if that was like our view into the future of what a lot of contracts could look like, I think we would never pick up another contract again. We expressed that to our recruiter, and she was saying that she can't emphasize enough that this situation we were in is not normal, it's not common. Maybe certain aspects of it, such as stalking, little things like that could be common, but the bigger picture, the breaches in contract, and the just general disregard for open communication between that hospital and us, letting us know any of this was coming, she said that's not common at all, and maybe 5% of her experiences with travel nurses are like that. If you ever want to leave a contract, you need to express that to your recruiter, because they're the ones that know the rules, they know the work environment, and they know the travel nurse community and how it could come across leaving a contract. So definitely express how you feel and do what they advise you if you can, just to save your reputation in the travel nurse community.
So there's some bigger umbrella travel nurse agencies who have like exclusive contracts with certain hospitals. So like,
Yeah.
you could only go to, as an example, you could only go to University of South Florida if you're working with a certain staffing agency. So like your agency can contact that agency and like third party you in. But there's a couple of really big companies. So like this hospital we were at was under the umbrella of one of those big companies. So if we had left not gracefully and just said, forget it, we're leaving, then we would have had a bad reputation with our company, the company, that big umbrella company, and that hospital, that whole system. Especially as early travelers, where that would have just been the
our
only
first one.
reference.
And
like,
our recruiter was lovely. She did a great job. She advised us the entire way through, and we have not experienced any bad outcomes, any marks on our reputation, any marks on our profile as a travel nurse. So we're very grateful for that. This is a little timestamp. If you fast forward to now, welcome. So key lessons learned. I'm referring back to our list. So 1, obviously, I feel like we've drilled you enough. Tell your recruiter everything. Don't keep it to yourself. Don't feel like you're whining. They want to know. Legally, they should know. Number 2, if something feels fishy, it probably is. Express that to your recruiter. Maybe write it down in an email so you can reference it later on instead of just speaking it over the phone. Maybe writing it down is a good idea. Number 3, always gracefully leave a contract if you can. I understand I can't speak for everyone. Sometimes there are reasons as to leave abruptly, and we don't want to discredit those. You know, family emergencies, things happen, but if you have the opportunity to leave gracefully, make sure you do so. You don't want to hurt your reputation if you plan on continuing on in the travel nurse world. Number 4, our lesson that kind of makes me laugh, is the part we touched on before on how eye-opening it was for us to know that not every hospital is run the same. You know, the one that you may have started at in your career, all of the hospitals you may have seen in your career thus far, it could still shock you how a different hospital runs so differently. So just have an open mind, I think, when you go into a new hospital. Number 5 is a lesson learned that I hope we won't have to feel again, but I want to express for you guys in case you're in this situation, is don't feel stuck. If you're in a situation and you're experiencing things that are fishy, that don't feel right, breaches in contract, cuts in pay, there is some sense of I'm going to tough it out. There's a sense of I'm going to stick through and I'm going to prove myself, or I'm going to find a way and grit and bear it. And I just think that there comes a point, everyone has a line that they're not willing to cross, and just recognizing yourself what that line is. You know, for us, the straw that broke these camels' backs was the patient care we were able to give and the patient care we were witnessing, and that was something that didn't align with our care standards. And that's the thing that kind of culminated to us leaving and feeling so strongly about wanting to leave.
I suppose some positive takeaways are it gave us perspective on hopefully the worst case scenario.
We're just trying to end this video on a happy note because we don't want to be Debbie Downers and we don't want to discourage you from travel nursing. There's definitely a lot of positives to travel nursing as well, and we don't mean to just discourage and
We just want to
scare
give you we want to give you the real life take on what happens if something is going wrong, what to expect, and
what you can
potentially
do about
how
it.
you can make it better.
If you would like to hear more about our travel nurse adventures, and if you'd like to hear more of the day-to-day and the real-life perspective on travel nursing, we'd love if you subscribed. Hit that notification bell below if you'd like to be notified when our next upload is. Follow us on Instagram at ScrubCapsTravel. And yeah, we'll see you in our next video, guys. Thanks for watching. Hi, guys.
Hi, and welcome.
One more time.
You go ahead.
Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. So today is that video that I promised. I have Trevor here with me. And
Hi, and welcome to our channel.
no, I want it to be semi-serious, not a total joke. I'll start over.
You got it?